to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
All right, look, man, it's Ebro in the Morning. Laura Stiles on maternity leave. We'll be catching up with her and seeing what the baby's up to, because that baby is running them in circles already. Young baby light, what's going on? We got Rosenberg on the program.
Yes,
and give
sir.
it up. Jaden Smith, the bro, has touched down. What's up, Jaden? What's popping, baby?
I'm working on some videos for the new album, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, everybody out there, go get Jaden's new project. It's been out. It's Cool Tape Volume 3, correct? We still on that?
Yes.
This came out, about a month ago? Month and a half now? How long has it been out?
A month and a half ago. And yeah, I'm working on the deluxe album as well right now.
Now, for everybody out there, or if you're following Jaden, Jaden has made the hip-hop albums. This album is very Beatles, Beach Boys, acoustic. Am I describing it right?
Yeah, it's very like alternative, and I'm trying to dive more into like different genres and learn a lot more about music theory and like the way to really structure out a song and the different ways you can do that.
This dude is deep, Rosenberg. You better watch
I know.
out.
And it's awesome too, because you came along so nicely as an MC, first of all, and like those of us who know and we're paying attention really have loved how you've progressed as a rapper. What Ebro mentioned the Beatles, the Beach Boys, but for you, what were the influences? Like, what is the stuff that you've listened to that you would say, you were sort of trying to channel when you were working on this one?
I'm just obsessed with the ocean, and I'm obsessed with the Beach Boys, and I just wanted to dive into a different type of style of music and really learn and kind of challenge myself as well and push myself and the team that I work with musically. And I'm always trying to do something that hasn't been done. I'm always trying to push some type of boundary on the edge of something. So we were trying to do that again with this album, and we're trying to do it even more so and like kind of get the point across even more with the deluxe version.
So I assume we're talking that where your obsession really began was Pet Sounds.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk for a little bit about that for maybe people who are not familiar with what is arguably like one of the few albums that you can argue is the greatest piece of American music ever made. Like what is it about that album that affected you? Like how would you describe it to someone who maybe when they think of the Beach Boys just thinks like Good Vibrations or Kokomo or whatever? How would you describe Pet Sounds?
I mean, I feel like there's so many things within the album that people don't pay attention to, just like the math of it all and the harmonies and how hard it is to structure these songs that have so many different harmonies and just so many different things going on, where it's like you have to sing in certain keys and you have to do certain things in order to layer them in the way that they are for it to make the mathematical sense that it does when you hear it. And then this magic happens when you put it all together that's like undescribable, and it just doesn't make really any sense. So it's like the whole journey of me, working on this album was, what is it about Pet Sounds that's so special, and like, why does it have the effect that it has on us? And I feel like I never figured it out. I don't know if anyone ever will, but
it's right in the pop record. It's vibrations, bro.
Oh, wow, thank you, bro.
It's right there. They tell you the math. It's like we giving up good vibrations. That's what it is, bro. It's the way it and I'm cracking jokes, but it is literally the way that it vibrates in your spirit. It's the way that it grabs a hold of your body and your connection to these natural elements around you, right? And that's what it all is. And I think, when you get into music theory and you start going down that path of trying to unpack these things, like you said, it can feel very confusing because you're looking for an answer that's literally right there in front of you, right? Like the answer is vibration. Mm-hmm. The answer is positive energy. The answer is, understanding the way these musical notes can work in concert with one another, both through instruments or through the human body.
But then
right?
you also have Brian Wilson in full crazy mode at that time, which is like, it seems like he was sort of living like the artist's dream of just being completely out there, right?
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, like with the sand in the living room and everything. Like I put grass in my living room while I was working on the album. I was like, I gotta feel like I'm outside. Like, but yeah, and like the whole connection with nature and like needing to have sand in your living room, you know, to write songs so you can feel the sand on your feet under the piano. It's like that's such a dope vibe, and like that energy of like just like wild creativity. We tried to tap into a little bit of that, and I just think that it's important for younger generations to always like um go back to like some of the best albums of all time and not just listen to what the best album of the year was, and listen to like whatever the best albums of all time have been, or you know whatever that is for them. You know, it might be something else for everyone else, you know what I mean? And I just think that whatever it is for you, whether it's you know the Beatles or whether it's Man on the Moon 1, or you know whatever it is that you feel is your favorite album of all time, like you just need to go back to that and like make sure we continue to like study that music and then the music that those people like studied. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to do with this album.
Jaden, are you personally when you create and you like you said you love to push boundaries, you love to push, and explore musically, but you've also shown us throughout the years. I mean, from you being in ads wearing a skirt or painting your nails or your personal relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Talk about where you are as personal when it feels, and I guess because you grew up in the public eye, it's no big deal when people are all taken aback by something you want to do with your life. But, a lot of people don't know how to deal with that, right? And so, how they feel and what they want to do, they may not be able to do because they're worried about public, scrutiny from their family, their community, their school, whatever. Maybe you could impart some wisdom on folks, right, about how you've learned over time, or maybe you're still learning to navigate making choices that you might get blowback in the public from, but still doing it anyway.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's like a simple, just evaluation that has to happen for anyone who feels like they're in a situation where they're like, hey, I really want to do this, or I really want to be this type of person, but I feel like I'm going to get this type of reaction from the people around me. It's really up to that person to really evaluate that situation and say, hey, what's going to be worse? Getting that reaction from the people around me, or the feeling that I'm going to have inside by like not walking my true light of who I actually am. And when you decide what's going to be worse, that's when you can just really make the real decision, because once you realize, or if you realize that, hey, there's nothing worse than not being who I am, I'd rather people make fun of me for who I am than like hiding and trying to conform and be like them when they don't even know what they are and they're just conforming to be like the next person. It's up to that person where it's like, yo, you have to be ready to make that choice, because once you make that choice, you'll never be able to step back like into the place where you feel protected and where nobody can like say mean things to you. Once you make that choice, you're going to really step out and like be like, whoa, this person is different, like for life. And it just depends like if that's your path and if that's your choice to walk down that path. Because I feel like for me, even I meet people almost every day where they're like, man, you have no idea the impact that you had on my life because I didn't tell anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because by telling them how much you impacted my life would then be like letting them know something like that I'm like super weird and different, you know what I mean? Which they didn't know, so I can't even tell anyone. So like, you're the only person that I've told that I fuck with you really hard, and it's you. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, those times are really awesome, because it feels like that I can be kind of like a pillar for people sometimes when they're like don't know what to do or how to express themselves or how to express how they feel. I just want to let people know that it's like you can express yourself and you can walk in the light that you want to be in, and you can be the person that you want to be in the world. You just have to like have that full faith in it, and then just be honest.
Is that something your mom or your dad or maybe both, like, is that something that you had to go to them to like find that confidence, or did you find that through multiple places, or maybe you found it yourself? I don't know.
I think it was through multiple places. I think it was from being on set at a young age and working on movies, it was very clear to me that I could just make a decision to be someone else at any point in time in my life. So that was like, wow, okay, months on end, we're gonna pretend to be like this. Months on end, we're gonna pretend to be like that. And I was like, okay, I'm wavy baby now. You know what I mean? That's why all of my albums have characters that go along with it, because it's so easy to tap in for months on end into like being a different type of person. And I think it's like really fun. But I do believe that I got a lot of that confidence from my parents about, just the more like stern parts of my personality that don't really change all the time, that I bring into all the different characters that I play. I feel like I really did get a lot of things from my parents being like, hey, you can do this, you can be whoever you want, and you can change the world and you can improve lives while you're doing it. You can be an example to other people that they can improve lives and that they can be whatever they want to.
Does it surprise you that someone who seemingly grew up with such an unrelatable life can be so relatable to your audience?
I mean,
Who, like Jaden himself, is so relatable?
Yeah, like he just said, he meets kids and they're like, oh my God, you affected me, you did this. Meanwhile, his life, obviously, as a teenager is so vastly different than most. I think that's fascinating that you're able to still tap into people in that way.
yeah, I think it's really fascinating too. And I feel like I really owe it to like misfits in the misfits community that we've built, because we go so far out of our way to just connect with everybody that's a part of misfits. So we're constantly hearing what like the kids in Paris and Italy and South Africa and all these different places in Chicago and Detroit are into. And like we're constantly hearing that, like, oh, I'm into this, I like this, I like that. You guys should do this, you guys should do that, like da da da. Like we're constantly like getting like the ebb and flow of our fans and like how they generally feel, and like even the things that they go through on a daily basis and the problems that they might have or the things that are going on in their life. We get to like talk to them and pretty much spend time with them if it wasn't for quarantine, and just kind of get a different perspective on everything, like perspective from Russia or a perspective from, London on, what's going on and how they feel and what they have to deal with on a daily basis. So then when I talk to other kids from Russia, if I talk to other kids from Detroit, Chicago, I'm remembering the one conversation that I had with the person that has grown up there that I remember. And it's just a whole, like, I don't know. It just makes it really easy to relate at that point.
That's dope. Do you what was the scariest time maybe for you that we may not have known watching you grow up? What was like a real scary time when you were becoming the man you are now and you had to really go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I want to be and this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to share it with the world. Is there a time where we may not have known it was scary because obviously we're just watching, but would love to, maybe that like you said, you like to share, you like to help people. Maybe there was something that you could share with us.
Yeah, I feel like there was a few scary times. When I released Sire, that was kind of a scary time for me, because it was like, man,
I'm about to rap.
Yeah, like
rap.
I'm about to do this. This is about to be my first album. Like I'm clearly taking this one more seriously. Like that, this is gonna be my debut album, and like I always like my people around me would always say like, oh, da da da, like, we need to have like a huge album, da da da. You're gonna have a huge album, yada yada. And I always knew that like I would always look at people and be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I always knew that I would not have a huge album and that it would be like this slow swell of people that were slowly like, yo, I fuck with this, yo, I fuck with this, yo, I fuck with this. And then years and years and years later, it would be like, yo, a good amount of us fuck with this. You know what I mean? And like I always knew that would happen, but I was really worried about how the world would receive it, like at the beginning. And that was a scary time for me. My head was in a really different place. And it was also in a super emotional place too. So I was just like, man, I need to get this album out. I need this person that I wrote the album about to hear it. I need them to know that I'm releasing albums that I'm serious and I'm going to move on in a type of way. Like, And yeah, that was a really scary time for me, for sure.
What do you have let's talk movies. Or do you have a favorite movie that you've done? Like when you look back on movies that you've done, is there a favorite of yours? Like where you're like, yo, I crushed that shit.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I really love this movie, Day the Earth Stood Still, that I was in, because it's the one that I look back and I'm like, holy crap, I was in that movie. I made that. I lived in Vancouver for 5 months at like 13. And it's definitely not one of my most popular movies, but I love it because I also, the actors that are in it that with me, I really love them and I'm still close with them to this day. And the director was awesome. And it's like sci-fi and weird and trippy. So I love that movie.
Fuck with that.
Is it weird? Is the experience of making a movie weird? How you're like basically best friends with people, and then sometimes, like in that case, you said everyone stayed close, but sometimes people make a movie. It's 5 months of being best friends. The movie ends, and then you don't talk anymore. Is that like a weird experience?
Oh, it's so weird. It's such a weird experience because you always want to like stay close with the people you make films with, but then you just never think about like, oh snap, we don't live in Berlin. Like
we have completely different lives.
Yeah, like, I forget you live in like another country. Like I live back in LA. Like, oh man, like we both are not even from here where we bonded from. So then you have all these memories with this person that are in neither of your guys' hometowns that you can't really.
And you might not see them like for years, and then you're like, you bump into them, but you're like, but yo, we were so close at a time.
Like we were like with each other every day for a time. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy, man. Like it's wild.
This album, Cool Tape 3, the deluxe is out. One of my favorites on there is the joint with Justin Bieber, which is really crazy. Y'all bodied that. You and Rory on here again. Y'all do y'all thing together all the time. Shout out to Rory. Yeah, no, this album though is also about you like pouring your heart out.
Yeah.
Now,
really
is this the first song on here is circa 2015.
Yeah.
So it's clearly this album is not set up to be present day.
No, that's another thing I love about it is that it's like in the past.
Speaking of in the past, can your sister still kick your ass?
Yes, definitely.
So that's present day.
Yeah.
Yo, Willow's dangerous, y'all. I don't know if y'all paying attention. Willow will fuck your ass up in real life.
Very dangerous.
Is this something she's just doing? She's moving around beating people up?
No. You just the yoga, the physics. Yo, she's dumb strong. You not paying attention to this?
No, I didn't know this was happening.
Neck. She could probably grab me by my neck and just like lift me up slow.
Now you're also very physically fit. Is that like your dad always in shape, your mom stays in shape, grandma's in shape? Like, what's y'all training regimen at the crib at the Smith house? Is it like mandatory? You got to wake up and bang out like 20 pull-ups and 200 crunches or something?
Don't come into the house unless you have fully worked out for 2 hours before you get there. The gym, it's funny because like the gym, when you get to their house, the gym is before the actual house. So it's like you have to go to it before you get there, or you have to drive by it and look at it and be like, oh shit,
I gotta hit the gym.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So we all just, especially under quarantine, it was just like, all right, we don't have anything else to do and we have to be ready when the world opens up again. We're all going to be just like just in the gym 24/7. Like we don't have time to waste.
Did you ever have a phase where you were obnoxious? Because in the several years that we've seen you around and I've met you, you always seem so adjusted for any young successful kid, let alone the child of some of the biggest actors in American history. So did you ever have a period that we didn't see that when you look back at it, you're like, yo, I was an obnoxious little creep at that point in time?
I feel like sometimes I look at old videos of myself and I just like, I'm just kind of like, man, why was I acting like weird, or why was I doing this, or why was I like talking like this, or why was I like pulling up places and just doing the splits instantly.
So you were just acting. There was a time when you were extra, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit extra now, but I'm really good at just playing it cool. But I was there was a time where it was just I look back and I'm like, man, it's I just look back sometimes and I'm just like, I don't think it was like a problem, but there was a few times where I was just like, man, like I wasn't running around the club and like slapping people in the face, but like I do feel like I could have done things differently a lot of times when I was younger. I'm not like fully ashamed. I feel like those are the times where I inspired people the most too, like young people across the world to be physically fit, to go do karate. Like I feel like I was really inspiring people in those times as well. But yeah, I feel like we all have times where we look back and we're like, man, we shouldn't have done that, or we could have done this better, or we could have handled this situation in more of a mature way.
Yeah,
How
for
do
sure.
you how do you guys in the family, I remember when Willow had to whip your hair back and forth, and she was going down the music path and then pivoted and was like, I don't, this isn't, I want to do something else.
Mhm.
And even most recently, mom and dad going through something, or you're going through something in public. How do you guys communicate with one another when that happens? Is it completely like that's the entertainment world and that doesn't affect the family, or do you guys just call and text and check on one another and make sure everybody's head screwed on right?
it's kind of like it's kind of like that's the entertainment world, and this is totally different.
Right.
We kind of like it's like yeah, because also by the time anyone is like writing or talking about anything, it's like we've been
Beyond it.
that's old news for us. You know what I mean? Like it's like anything that's in the news has had the time to happen and then go out. So by the time it's going out, people think it's happening, but it's actually has already happened.
That's
And
a
they're
major key, no? It
That's
allows you to deal
super.
with it so much better than if you're dealing with it while the rest of the world is obsessed with it, right?
yeah, and that's what it feels like for other people, but that's not actually how it ever is for us. You know what I mean? It's just always oh, like oh wow, or like that took a while, or like oh snap, I shouldn't have did that, mom and dad. I'm sorry. Like, but you knew that I did that last week because I called you right out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's kind of like a thing where it's always kind of old news. We never figure things out from the internet.
Where are you as a entertainer right now? Do you love the business at all? Is there still love for the business of entertainment, or is everything that you do simply out of a desire, as you said earlier in this conversation, to connect with other human beings and other like-minded people, and kind of help people navigate finding their individuality?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. My teacher explained it to me in a really awesome way where he's like, we all have these um, worlds inside of us that are pretty much, you know, disconnected from anyone else's world. He would always say, your brain is in a dark like vacuum in your head, like it's kind of isolated from the rest of the world. And we all have these own worlds that are inside of us that are kind of like an abyss. And when you hear a piece of music that makes you cry, or you watch a movie that makes you cry, or you whatever, like you get so emotional from something that it triggers some type of emotional reaction out of you. That's someone else's abyss reaching out and finding your abyss and touching your abyss and showing you, hey, it feels like we're alone, but these like empty spaces inside of us can actually reach out to each other. And I have that empty space inside of me too. I have that little part of me missing too. That's why I did this. And you're crying because you have that part missing too. And our abysses are touching. So it's like, I, that's what I want to do. I'm trying to make like young adults cry in their room or have like psychedelic experiences, like listening to my music and like have like a life changing moment. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to do. I've never really been in love with the industry. I've always been in love with the connecting of abysses of people.
Who made you do that? Who made you, as a young adult, cry in your room listening to their music?
Cudi, you know what I mean?
Cudi.
Cudi would always say things that just would like change my life. And then, I thought it was just me and my brother for a while, and then I got older and started going to festivals, and then I realized like, oh man, everybody feels like that. Like everybody has felt that from Cudi. Everybody says that Cudi saved their life. Everybody, if you're born at that right time, everybody was in high school and just like chilling, and everybody had that same experience listening to Cudi. If someone listened to Cudi, you knew like something about them. You know what I mean? It's like you can tell certain things about them. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh man, I wanna like have like I wanna be that type of artist. You know what I mean? Like that's why Cudi is my favorite artist.
I want to get to all the work that you've done around water. What you did for our people that listen to us right here in Newark, New Jersey, with the Waterbox, and making sure the lead levels and dealing with that, as well as getting people fresh water. But you're one of the artists that I watch go super hard, registering young people to vote and really trying to articulate to the youth about the power of their vote, voting in numbers. I don't know what your political alignment is, but I'm sure you were happy the other day with the victory for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Talk about your emotion around that.
Yeah, I was blown away. I was so happy. I felt like we're living in a new world, and I just like Kamala Harris with the all of the different historical moments that happened with her becoming vice president was just like, man, just living through history, you know what I mean? And it's just like I just understand so much more now, and it just, I got so spoiled with Obama being president for so long, and to have this victory now again after such a hard 4 years has just been, it's just awesome. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I can see that the youth and the world can come together for something that we really care about. I'm happy that the youth can see that the votes actually do matter. I'm happy to see that the youth turnout for this election was just ridiculous and exactly what we were looking for. And if we said that if the youth turned out the way that they did, that we would win, and we did. And I'm glad that people can see that, because when we all come together, when we all come together, you know what I'm saying? When we have Supreme posting about voting, when we have me posting about voting, when we have everybody posting about voting and getting out there and being honest and being genuine and not just doing it once, doing it multiple times, like when it matters, like when they know that, oh, ballots are being sent to this state, people are posting on that, like that's what we need. And I just hope that we can all come together in the future when we're needed as a species to come together again and to say, hey, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. And we can really start to form a world that the people want and that the people believe in.
You 18 to 29-year-olds, 61% voted for Biden. Now I guess all eyes are on Georgia for these 2 Senate seats. Right, there's a runoff to get those Senate seats, because now we have to, and I'm glad you said it that way. Now people have to see how this actually works, right? Kamala and Biden, great, to get their ideas moving forward, the things that they said they wanted to do. We got to get the Senate and keep holding the House so that the ideas that they want to put in play have support in Congress.
100%.
So we can actually get those things done. And then we're going to be doing this again in 18 months when there's more Senate seats and more House seats. And then we're going to do it again 18 months after that.
Totally.
Because we're going to be at, so it is going to be interesting to see if people can keep their engagement levels up.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see. And I hope that they do. And I hope that we all realize that, we can all be beacons in our community, and we can all, make a change on our own. And we don't always have to look to those who have dedicated their life to, running the world, that we can also do our part to make the world a better place, even if we didn't dedicate our life to that, or we didn't think that that's what we were going to do with our time.
Right. Go local, stay focused. Speaking of local, you guys have 5 water. Talk about these water supply. Now, you own a water company, and that's what's the name again?
Just Water.
Just Water. And you guys have 5 different water supply places. I think there's one in Flint. There's one in Newark. What are the other
Yeah.
places?
So we started Just Water back when I was, like 10 years old. And it's been developing ever since then to finally get into Whole Foods and into all these different stores. And then me and my co-founder of Just Water, Drew Fitzgerald, we decided to start another company called 501c3, which is a nonprofit. So that we can work in different ways and we can accept donations from people and we can do things that just go and give back straight to the community. So what we did was, at first, when the water crisis was happening in Flint, Michigan, we put 4 water filtration systems in Flint, Michigan. Kind of like tried to create a network of systems within Flint, Michigan. So we put 4 of them there, and then we wanted to expand, but then COVID happened, and then we started to hear talks about what's happening in Newark and the ways that we could get involved in that. The Newark Water Coalition asked us for a water box, and we said okay, and then we finally got the Newark Water Coalition a water box, and we're so happy to have it there. We're so honored, and we want to have more and more and more water boxes in Newark, so that anybody that feels as though that that they have too much lead in the water, or they can see or smell the lead and they don't want to drink it, they can go to this filtration system. They can get 10 gallons every 60 seconds, however many gallons of water they want. And they take in these huge jugs with them and they leave and they can go home and they just take the water with them for free. And then we're slowly starting to expand more and more of these water boxes in as many places as we can, because water is life, and we're just trying to develop these systems into a place where they can get the off-grid systems so that we can have a solar panel on top of it. And then we're going to start launching water boxes overseas, like in places where people really, really need them, where people are dying from not having access to clean water on the inside of their body, but also on the outside of their body from infections and all different types of crazy, crazy diseases. So that's our long-term goal, is to continue to purify water and help with sanitation with human beings all over the world that are suffering from diseases that have to do with like non-sanitary water.
Jaden Smith, ladies and gentlemen. How old are you, bro?
22.
Oh, I was serious. I seriously was thinking, Ebro. I was like, I'm glad that he's like 26 or 27 now. I feel like less of a loser. I was like, I feel not as bad about myself.
Nah,
he's only
son,
22.
This is my nigga Jaden, bro. And that's why I know listen, there's tons of shit we could talk about with you, but I always, in all of our conversations, I find joy in listening to you as a young black man. Just highlight not just the music and the creative aspects, or not just talk about your parents, but the shit that you are doing for you and your generation. I just find it amazing, and we're proud of you, man. And thanks for always coming through and shouting us out when you have time too, man.
Of course, bro. Of course. Thank you guys for having me on the show. I appreciate it so much more than you know. And yeah, I'm excited for this pandemic and everything to just kind of clear up so that we can hopefully see each other again in real life.
Yo, you have a record out today too from the Spider-Man video game soundtrack, right?
Yes, I do. Shout out to Marvel.
Shouts to Marvel. It's called I'm Ready.
Yes, it's called I'm Ready.
Let's run it. Let's play it. And let's play that Bieber joint off the album too.
Let's go.
Yo, Jade, man, keep doing your thing. See you soon, brother.
Take care, bro.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon, all right?
Yes,
all right,
man.
man.
Take care.
What a kid.
Yo.
Love that guy.